everyone, I am very excited to be doing my first colouring tutorial from Magical Worlds. It's really hard to pick a page, I'm sure you agree with me, but I've decided to do this nameplate. I thought it was a really sort of good place to start, and it just felt like the right place to start really. So let's come in a little closer and have a little look at what we've got going on here. So we have our little sort of castle house, trees and a bit of magic and things like that. It's just come out a tad. There we go. Now I'm sorry about the light and shadow. It is so sunny today. I've shut the blind. The lamp is on. I think we'll be okay, but hopefully it'll all be good. We have a symmetry here, but I thought, excuse me, rather than just doing half, I'd do the whole thing. I'm sure I can natter on while I do it. I've got my Polychromos pencils. They always work nicely in Johanna's books. This is a UK edition, by the way. Paper isn't always the same on different books. So where should we start? Well, I think I'd like to start with these pine trees. I don't know why. There's no reasoning behind it. I just think they look rather nice. And I'm going to use the pine green colour. I think I will come in a bit closer. I'm going to sort of do it in, let's do the sort of coming close to the top bit. I think that's a little bit better. So I'm going to use the pine green, which I'm just going to sharpen and do the sort of shadowy areas. Now if you look, Johanna has drawn a few lines here to give us a little bit of help, but I tend to put a bit of shadow underneath each layer of tree. So that's what I'm going to do here. So this will be my darkest green, like that. So that's quite a dark area, and then I'm just going to slightly fade it down a bit so it will blend into our next colour, and do the same here. And then we've got 4 trees. They're all going to be done in the same way. Now of course you don't have to do all your trees the same colour, but that's how I want to do it. It's very much your book, your thing, your colours. I just want to sort of give you a little bit of guidance if you need it. So as I say, it's really sunny here today. It's quite unexpected. It's been a really, I'm just going to do the same over here. It's been a really rainy week, and my father-in-law is church warden for his local church, or I think he's he wanted to stand down, but he's in his early 80s now, but I don't think he found anyone to take over, or there might be a little group of them, I'm not really 100% sure. But when they get a flood warning on the river, they have to decide whether to do some work in the church, because the church is at the lowest point in the village and it floods if the river goes. And what he will do is he will get some plastic fruit boxes and he will stand the wooden pews up on those. Oh, I'm just trying to grab my next colour. I'm going to use the juniper green next. And so I'm going to start on the top here though for this colour. And so he will do that. We're just going to sort of fade down towards the bottom. Like that. I've got a third green that I'm going to use at the end. Okay, I mean it looks quite like it's sort of a bit of a snowy tree, which is rather pretty, but that isn't what I was going to go for. But you could do it that way if you want. He stands all the pews up on these sort of plastic boxes so that when the water comes into the church, they're high enough that they don't get ruined. But he has to decide whether it's worth. It's a lot of work. The pews are extremely heavy. You know, they're hardwood and there are lots of them, so he's never quite sure. And take up all the carpet as well. There's just, rather than having a fixed carpet, they have little strips of carpet, so it's quite easy to take those up. And the what are they called, the little things you kneel on to pray? I can't think of the name of them. Anyway, I used to call them something when I was a child, but it was the wrong name. Now you can see I've got quite a lot of lininess going on here, and that, although I didn't intend to do that, I think it's going to work quite well to look like a sort of pine needle effect. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. Are they just called kneelers? I know. Anyway, they're beautifully embroidered by the ladies of the village. Some more recently, some a long time ago. So those have to be put up as well. But I suspect that those have already, I think those only get put out when there's a big service, because they usually don't use the pews very often. They will sit on the stackable chairs right up by the altar. Because my son is coughing, I think he's okay. Because the church is very cold, heating the whole church is really difficult. You have to go and put the heating on like 3 hours before the service. So what they tend to do is, hence the need for bits of carpet, or else your feet get really cold. What they tend to do is they have a little curtain in the top bit, so they shut off that little bit and put the heating on. We can use the earth green to finish off. Put the heating on in the top little area to keep everybody warm, and everyone's sort of closer together as well. So it's nice. It's not so formal, but it's because they don't have as many people going to church as they used to. I think all churches is the same way. I mean, the village has actually grown in size in a way, because the old primary school is now a housing estate. So there's more houses and more people, but people just don't go to church like they used to. So they have a small area, and they don't always have a service every week. They sometimes go to the next door village church to have a service instead. The vicar works in both, to save some money. So he has to decide whether to go down and sort of rescue the church, basically. And last night he had sort of decided that he was just going to hope that it wasn't going to rain, and I heard it raining in the middle of the night. So I'm not sure, but it's sunny today, so I'm really hoping it's sunny there. It doesn't live, this is probably about not quite an hour away drive, but yeah, fair distance away. So the weather there will be different to here, but I'm just hoping that he was okay, because the insurance pay out, but of course it's a lot of work, and he's only just got the pews refurbished, and they were stripped back and revarnished and things, so it would be sad if he had to do that again. There are our trees. I'm happy with those. You could layer up a few more times if you want to, but I think we've got quite a nice sort of shadowy shape effect on them, so I'm very happy. And I'm going to do the trunks of the trees. I'm going to use a couple of colours for these. I'm going to start with the nougat, and then we'll use a darker brown after. So I'm going to put this down first. Now I do want to layer other colours on top, so don't push too hard. Use it quite lightly. If you hold the pencil further down, if you hold it here, you get a darker mark. So hold it a little bit further down. It is a little harder to get your line in exactly the right place. You have to take it slowly, and when you do it slower, you get less of a mark. You see? And we'll do that on this side as well. So this is just our very basic base, and you can leave it there if you're happy with that. You don't have to add the extra fiddly layers if you don't, but I'm going to grab the burnt umber, and what I want to do is make the edges of the trunks a little bit darker. So I'm going to run this down the edge just inside the black line that Johanna has given us for guidance, like that, and underneath there, and then the same on this one. So along here and here and under the tree where it would be creating a bit of a shadow, like that. I might do a bit behind that bush as well, actually, just a bit of a shadowy bit. It's quite small, you might not really be able to see. So a bit here. Now often with tree trunks I will try and put some texture into them, some lines and things to make them look more like there's a sort of gnarly bark. I'm not sure if I do that in the middle here, we might lose that lighter area. So I've got bits of pencil everywhere, so I think I might just leave that. But I have just noticed something that I want to just do with my pine green before we finish our trees, is where this one's overlapping this one and this one's overlapping, I feel like we could do with a little bit of shadow, because we've got our shadow here. So I'm thinking I just want to go around this edge a little bit with this darker colour, with this pine green, to just give it a little indication that there's a bit of shadow there, and it will make it look like our trees aren't sort of stuck together, that one is in front of the other. I hope that's the plan. Okay, shall we move on to the building? Now, I do sometimes find buildings daunting, I have to say, but not always, and it depends what mood I'm in. I'm quite happy today, relaxed about doing buildings, so it's perfectly fine. Now what I think I want to start with is the roof. Now we've got these little roofs here and this big ornate one here. I think I'm going to try and match up part of the building so that it ties it together, because these two on the edge, I don't want them to look like two separate buildings. So with my roof, I think I'm going to start with a grey. This is the warm grey 4. I'm just going to sharpen it. Excuse me. Here we are, warm grey 4. Now we've got lines drawn here by Johanna and here, but they don't complete all the way across. I'm not really sure what's going on, so I'm going to start with a really light layer on both sides and just have a little think. So I think on this side we would get some shadow from the building, but on this side we wouldn't. But the lines are drawn on there, so I'm just, as I say, I'm going to have a little bit of a think. I think I'll just do some shadow here on this side. I almost feel like it would be thinner at the top than at the bottom. I don't know why I think that. I've never really observed how a building throws light on the roof, shadow on the roof, but I almost feel like that should be how it is because of the slope of the roof. But I don't know. And we need to put a bit of shadow under our chimney pot. Gee, that's the chimney. I think this is bits of the chimney pot. And on the sides. I'm also going to use this colour to do this bit of roof here, just so that it's the same. Now here we've got lines just on this side, but I'm going to put a bit more colour on both sides. I want to make it look a little bit more rounded, like that. This isn't burnished enough for me, so I'm going to get, but I don't want it to be any darker. So I'm going to use the warm grey 1 and just go over that bit, keep it light, but so I can't see that paper through. So I'm just going to sharpen my warm grey 1 and do the roof. Yeah, it's strange, I'm always in the mood for colouring flowers and leaves, but buildings sometimes I feel a little bit more daunted by, but some days I'm just absolutely happy and fine to colour them, and other days I'm like, Now, I'm going to leave that for a minute. Just going to have a think. See, this underneath bit here I think would be a little bit darker, so I'm just going to grab my warm grey 5 again. Lots of sharpening today. Here we go, warm grey 5 to do this underneath part, and I want to make sure it looks darker than the rest, because it would be in shadow because it's sort of underneath. Now I realise there are these lines drawn on it. I'm just going to hope that they might just show through my colouring, and I'm going to do the same colour here on this bit. I might fade it towards the middle a bit, I'm not sure. I will, and then I'll decide whether I think it's working. Let's just darken that up and have a look. Yeah, I think that's good. You could colour that bit in darker in the middle if you feel you want to. Right, this bit I think I'm going to do in the same colour, so I'm sticking with my warm grey 5 Again, I'm just going to make it a bit lighter in the middle, just to give the impression of shadow on those edges really. And then we have all our tiles to do. They might look quite small and daunting. Now, if you wish, you could just colour them in, just colour all over them and not worry about colouring each one individually. I'd like to colour each one individually, so that's what I'm going to do, but really it is completely your choice. If you don't want to do it, then ooh, this one, look, it's all the wood is oh sorry, all the wood is coming off. I don't know what's going on, my sharpener's a bit full. So with the tiles, I'm going to start on the top, make it darker at the top like that, and then a little bit lighter towards the base. I'll probably end up leaving a bit of white. I'm just going to deal with each one individually. As I say, if this is too much for you, just colour the whole thing in this colour, and you could just then leave it there, or you could make the edges a little bit darker and so give it more of a conical look, you know, like it's more 3D rather than a flat triangle. Talking of flat, it was quite interesting. On my flip through video of the book, I had a comment from someone who said they found Johanna's drawing very flat and weren't keen on it. And it's quite, I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and obviously not everyone's going to like Johanna's work, and that's absolutely fair and fine. But interesting that she said she felt it was flat. I do think some illustrators help you a little more with your shading and things. For example, if you get a grayscale book, it does indicate where the shadow should go. But for me, part of the fun is to work out how it's supposed to be looking, whether you want to try and make it look a little less flat. And I've seen some absolutely astonishing work done in Johanna's books where people have really brought it to life. These bottom ones are going to just block in quite hard because I think they'd be like in shadow because they're underneath. Where they've brought her drawings really to life with the way they've very carefully and slowly coloured the pictures. So I think it you know, you can do it, and maybe it's easier in other books, but I am actually really liking this book personally. I prefer it to Rooms of Wonder. Small Victories I liked as well, but for me, Rooms of Wonder, I'm going to do these bricks around the door in the same colour. So I'm going to go around here and then just sort of fade it a bit towards the middle. I'm not going to leave any white, not on purpose. I think I probably have there anyway because I can't see. But just make it a little bit paler, and hopefully that gives a little bit of, the rock looks a little bit rounder rather than flat. But yes, Rooms of Wonder for me had a little bit too much detail, which I found quite daunting, to be honest, but same as Lost Ocean was. But I think some people really like the little details, so it's all a matter of taste. And I have finished colouring Rooms of Wonder. I did do all the pictures, and yes, there were a few that I found challenging to start with, but I always find once I get started, I enjoy them all, you know. Also, some people have said this is very similar to her other books. Now, I think that's slightly unfair, because I look at this picture here, let's just take this page for example, and think back to Secret Garden, her first book. I can't see any shapes that she's drawn there, apart from maybe these, you can't see, the little tiny leaves right at the bottom and the stars that she's done in Secret Garden. She may have done pine trees a little bit like this in Enchanted Forest, but you wouldn't expect it to be completely different, because we buy Johanna's books because we like her style. So, you know, but I think if people are getting bored and they want something different, by all means, get something different, you know. That's how it should be. Right, I have no clue what colour to do this building. I'm just having a little look around at what other elements there are in this picture. We've got a gemstone, we've got mushrooms, we've got butterfly, we've got lots of leaves, lots of green, so we're not going to do it green, that's for sure. I often turn to cinnamon for buildings, or blue. Could do something a little bit different. I want to do it brown. Maybe it's not the obvious choice, but you don't have to do it. As I often say, if you don't like the way I've done it, just do your own thing. Yeah, this sharpener is too full. I'm just going to stop and go and empty my sharpener. That's very much better. So I've got the raw umber, just a very light brown, and I'm going to do this sort of buildings as if they've been sort of painted or rendered in this sort of light brown colour. I'm not putting on too hard a layer. I don't want it to necessarily be too dark, because I might want to add some more colour to it. I think this is my problem with buildings, is the colour. I never know what colour to do them. So it's not about actually working out the shape or anything like that. It's just what colour do I colour it. We've got quite a few buildings in this book, so I will get a lot of practice, as I did in Worlds of Wonder, where there were lots of buildings too. But I'm still not really, colours don't just come to me, if that makes sense. I have to think about it a bit. And my house is brick, is actually limestone brick, but most houses around this area are red brick. And that is often the sort of colour that I turn to, cinnamons, Venetian reds, that sort of thing. But it's nice to do something a bit different. Now, oh, we need to do this one too. Now, thinking about the chimneys, I tend to match the chimneys into the houses. So we'll put that one there and that one there. Now we've got a base down. I'm just going to work through and do a little bit of shadowing. So here there'd be a shadow, because this house is slightly set back. If we put a diagonal shadow like we did on the roof, probably not actually, because the roof is sloping, the house isn't. We'll go under there, a bit of shadow under that bit of the roof. And then behind each of these stones, we'll just go around them like that. And putting this shadow in also ensures that you've covered the paper, because when you're getting up close to an object, sometimes it's easy to miss and leave a little white space. Now it's likely that I'm doing that anyway, but this helps you to not do it quite so much. So let's fill in those little gaps as well. Now around the edges of the little bush, and then behind here, because this is a sort of, I'm thinking it's a balcony. It's quite an odd feature, but that's, or should we say imaginative, not odd, different is what I meant. There we go. And I think we need a line under here. Johanna's even drawn some little dots along, which sort of gives the clue really that we need a line. Now for this I'm going to do a couple of slightly different colours, nothing too far away from what we've done. So I'm going to use the brown ochre to start with for the lower part, this bit here. I'm just going to block it in. I don't think it needs anything too different. But I'm going to do the chimney pots with this colour. No, I think it's a bit too close. Actually, we'll do the chimney pots with the colour that we do the top section. I think I'm going to try this, the burnt ochre, because it's a slightly more orangey colour, just so it's a little bit different. And again, just filling it in. I can hear my husband mopping the kitchen floor. Well, I can't hear him mopping, That would be some good hearing, wouldn't it? No, I can hear him moving the furniture around. He's mopping under the table and chairs. He's being very helpful. Well, now, the chimneys. I'm going to grab this burnt umber. I'm going to put a bit more shadow in the chimneys because they need to look rounded rather than... I don't think they're square chimneys, I think they're round. So I'm going to put a bit of shadow each side and each side of the chimney pot. That's quite a lot. Didn't really mean to put that much down. Sort of fade it in a bit towards the middle. Like that, so it looks a little bit more rounded. That one, as I say, is a bit too much, but never mind. We'll pretend it's all okay. And I'm going to use this burnt umber to also do the door frame. Although, no, I'm not. She changes her mind really quickly. I'm going to use the coal grey 4 because these hinges, can you see, these look like the same, they're joined to the frame. So let's make our frame metal. Grey metal, and put in these hinges as well. Door handles, again, I'm always struggle with. I think I'm just going to make them the same colour. Now we need our door. I want a wooden door, but I think we should use some different colour browns to what we've used on the rest of the sort of house / castle. I think it looks quite castly. I'm going to use the bistre. I'm going to go downwards because I think that's the direction our wood is going to be. That's just how I've decided to do it. Like that, and then put some lines in it. I'm not doing them evenly because I'm not making it look like it's made of panels of wood. I'm making it look like it's made of one huge piece of wood. And then we can also use the walnut brown to put a few more lines on it. Just to give that wood impression, hopefully. There we go. And now we have windows. Now I like to do some inviting windows, I think. So we're going to put a bit of yellowy light. I'm going to use the light yellow ochre though. I often use a sort of cadmium or something yellow, but I think this is slightly muted because I don't want the windows to stand out, you know. But I want you to be able to see them and them to look welcoming, but I don't want them really fluorescently bright, which might happen if I use the other yellows. There we go. Now we've got a little bit of bush here. I'm going to use my lightest colour first, my May green. Now don't press too hard with this one. I'm going to go around and around like this. Use circular motion and try to do some areas darker than others so that it looks textured in your bush. Don't worry too much at this stage if it doesn't, because we're going to add a couple of other colours anyway. It's quite funny that I thought that this, I think I'm going to do these as well. This would be a quick page, but it isn't really that quick, but it doesn't matter at all. I still can't decide what to do, what else to do in here. Actually, yes, I can. I have decided. That was quick, wasn't it? I changed my mind because I remembered what page I've decided to do next. Right, and now I'm going to grab a slightly darker green. This is the earth green yellowish. It's only slightly darker than the May green, but I'm going to put some swirly patches on my bushes with this. I want them to look like there's little clumps of leaves or different texture within my bush. Like that. Then one last darker colour, the permanent green olive. I'm going to put a little bit of shadow in there. Put a little bit along the edge of there and here. Doesn't want to sit very well. And then again, add some clumps of colour. little rounded areas. I always think looks a bit more bush-like. I might be wrong. And when we've finished, when you're happy that you've done enough, I'm going to go over it all in a slightly lighter colour I've got that I'm yet to choose, and just brighten it up a little bit. I think I'm going to use this. It is the cadmium yellow lemon. So it's quite a bright yellow, but it is greeny. It doesn't look that greeny in the camera, but it does to my eye. Although I never know whether the camera screen very well represents what you can see. You know, colour-wise, it's always difficult because different screens show colours in different ways. It depends how high you have your brightness and contrast and exposure and all those different things. When I put my video out, what I do is when the very last picture appears at the end of the completed page, it probably looks quite different to the page at the end of the video, and that's because I do change it. I look at that photo and I adjust the brightness and the exposure and the contrast and different things to make it look on my computer screen as much like the original as I can. And whether that works that way for you, I have no idea, because I can't see it on your screen. Now we have these flowers here, and I think I would quite like them to be a nice bright colour to really stand out from our sort of house. I'm going to do the middles in some yellow though, and a couple of shades, so I'll just start with that. I'm going to grab my green gold for the bottom of them. There we go, green gold. I coloured some like this actually yesterday in this book. I did the colour palette test page, the little fish I did in my flip through video, which was, I felt a little bit rushed, but it's okay. And I did, after that, I did the very back page, I think it was, no, the other colour palette test page anyway. This is dark Naples ochre I'm going to use for the top part. And so I did the other bit, and yeah, I spent a lot longer on it, and I was really pleased with it. I can show you. There it is. Used Staedtler Ergosoft, lots of white pen. Right, let's get back to our picture though. Sorry, I'm being very easily distracted today. There we go. Is that straight? Maybe. Right, so our little daisies, I always feel that they look so pretty without any colour on, like white, but we're going to put some colour on them. I am going to do them in a sort of turquoisey bluey type colour. So I'm going to start with the cobalt turquoise and do the top of each petal, the bit nearest to the centre, the yellow bit, and just fade it down towards the base. And the same on the other side. You could do them different colours if you want to. They don't have to be the same colour as each other, and even they don't have to be symmetrical if you can cope with not doing them symmetrical. To be honest, I think I would find it very hard if, like, I had a red, a yellow, an orange and a blue. You know, I like the having things symmetrical, but see, you don't have to. I'm going to finish them off with the cobalt green and just go over what you've done and take the colour to the tip. So I'm looking forward to Johanna's book launch week, where she's going to be colouring a selection of pages. I am sort of avoiding those pages because I feel like you might want to colour along with Johanna, but I don't know how detailed her colour along is going to be because she's picked really big pages. I wonder whether it's going to be sped up or whether she's just going to do a little bit of it. I'm not sure. So if it's sped up, that's quite difficult to follow. But I'm going to watch them before I make a decision on that. Now we're going to do the leaves under our flowers. I'm actually going to grab, I'm going to use the permanent green olive. I just like the olives. I don't know how well they go with blue really, but you know. And I'm going to put the dark colour in the bottom and then lighten it towards the tip like that. We're going to do the same on all of these leaves here. And then, oh, that one wasn't faded very well. Fade it off and I'll put another colour on top to just finish off those tips. And hopefully it will blend into, because we use this colour in the bushes, but not in such an intense way. It will just tie in really, I hope. Now I'm not really sure what these are, so I'm going to ignore them. Not forever, just for a minute, and go over here and do these leaves. Yeah, I just not colour them. I don't know what they are. Well, I might do them as something a little bit different colour. That's what I meant. Not that I was just going to completely ignore them. I can't be bothered. Now I am going to use the May green, which I need to sharpen to go over those. Here it is, May green. I'm just going to go over the whole thing. There we go. Ooh, that bit doesn't want to colour. I think I might use the May green just for these little bits. And because it's a bit more intense than it was on the bush, and we've got that lighter yellow on top, it doesn't look the same, but it just sort of works, I think. But don't worry, we'll use, I can't speak, we will use some different colour greens for the rest. Because there is quite a lot of leaves coming up later as well. There we go. We need to move up a little bit and probably out just a tad, as you can see. Now I am not doing the stars and the different things, flourishes yet. I'm going to deal with those a bit later on. Now I am looking at this line going around here, which seems to almost turn into grass here. Do you see what I mean? So I'm thinking I might do it in a grassy colour and sort of work it that way. So I'm going to start, now again I'm going to build up some colours, so don't push down too hard at this point. But I'm going to start with my light green and I'm going to go along here all the way down it through these tufts of grass here and through to here. Now I may very well do another layer or two of this after, but at the moment this is the sort of base just to get me started. It helps me see where I'm at, what I'm doing, and it gives me a little bit of time just to think about what I'm going to do. Now down here we've got some more bush like shapes. Then we might do the same as the ones that we've already done at the top, possibly. Got all these cute little mushrooms to do as well. Right, so there is that bit. I'm going to go darker now with my leaf green, and I'm going to, on this part, I'm going to make it darker here and there, fade it up a little bit like that, so that it just gives a little bit of interest to our sort of arched shapes. And then with the grass, I put a little bit at the base, and the same with this one. So I'm going to come along the base here, along this line, and then just slightly scumble up. So I'm doing a little rounded movement just to put a slightly lighter layer above what we've done already, so that it blends it a little bit really. And then exactly the same on the other side. So just bringing that colour in, and we're going to come back in a minute with a third colour to just bring these two together. So if you feel like it's not quite working together, don't worry, it will, hopefully, in a minute. So I'm going to use the grass green, which is slightly darker than our light green and slightly lighter than the leaf green. And so I'm going to just extend this a tad like that, and the same with this one, just a little bit. And then same with the grass, just take it a little bit further up. Oh, to miss those out. Sort of fade as you go if you can. It's quite fine work, quite small. It's not the easiest to do. There we go. Oh, I was going to say earlier, it might be a bit late now, for any of you who are watching this video, haven't watched my videos before, if you don't have the Polychromos pencils, I do have some charts to help you out. We're going to go back over everything with the leaf green. You can press a little bit harder now if you want to. Just want to add a nice intensity of colour like that. I'm going to go over everything. I do have charts where I convert the colours from different brands. So if you've only got, let's say, Prismacolor, you can grab my chart and see what the equivalent colours are. Sort of comparison chart. And I also have swatch charts, so if you have a set and you want to swatch them, or if you want to have a look at what colours are included in a set, I think it can be quite useful. Now, the colours aren't completely true, because if you think about it, well, I have coloured them onto the piece of paper myself with my set of colours, so that's all correct. But then I have I've scanned it in on my scanner, so that may have altered the colour, and then I've put it up on a screen, and when you look on your screen it might look different to my screen. I'm going to use the permanent green for these. These to me look a little bit like lily pads, and I'm thinking this is water, but I don't know what this loop is. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to enjoy colouring them. So I'm going to make this part quite dark, well, darker, like this. And you can see I'm doing a sort of line thing. That's purposeful. So basically if you put your pencil down here and as you stroke out you lift it and it fades towards the end of the line. You can do with this with a paintbrush or a pen as well. It's quite fun. And it will give us a slightly different look when we put our next colour on, I hope. And I'm just going to put a bit here and a bit here. I don't know what these loops are. I don't even know sometimes if Johanna knows what she's drawing, if she just has fun and just gets carried away and draws things. I think that might be what she does. And it's lovely to think that perhaps that is what she's doing, just having fun putting lines down. Because that's what we're doing at the end of the day. We're having fun putting colour down. There we go. Now, a lot of people will say, how do you decide what page to start on in a book? Now, or I'm too scared to start a new book. That's another one I hear a lot. or read a lot from on various things. Now, starting a new book is quite daunting, I have to say. And when you are doing what I do and you are making a video, flip through, and then you've got to colour a bit. This is grass green. You have little choice, you've just got to go for it. I'm going to keep with my liney thing and just finish them off. So what do you do? Well, I find that once I've written my name in the book, or done the "this book belongs to" page, then, did I not put any on that one? It doesn't matter. I feel more like the book is mine, and therefore I can do it. It's mine, I can colour it how I want. It's no longer a daunting book, it's my book. So there's that way of thinking that I have, but I know that won't be true for everybody. This page is always a good one to start on, the nameplate, because it's never, well, in Johanna Basford books, it's never that complicated. I have to say, there's one of Hannah Carlson's books, I think it might be Magical Dawn. The nameplate page is so complicated that I haven't done it, and I've done loads of the rest of the book. So another way is to look at the book pages and pick your favourite. Why not start with your favourite? We didn't do the loopy bits. So back to our permanent green. Why not start with your favourite? What if you might be scared of ruining it. People say, I'm scared of ruining my book. It's sad, grass green, really, that you are worried about that, but I can understand why. But I would say just go for it and enjoy it. And if it goes wrong, you can buy another one. Put it on your Christmas list. You could start with a simple picture. That's another way. Something that you think looks easier to colour, which is what I've done with this one. I think this is quite a simple picture. I did think it wouldn't take long, but that wasn't quite right, was it? I think I probably should have made this into a two-part series, but I am invested now in getting it done in one. Right, now we've got some repeating things, colours here. So these little round ones, remember we did these in May green, so I'm going to do the same thing, those up there as these down here. So I'm just going to fill those in so that it gets a little bit quicker, I find, as I get nearer to the end, because I start using same colours. Now here and here, I think this is all the same sort of bush as we did at the top, so I'm going to colour it in the same way. So scribble, scribble, scribble. If you keep your scribble small, it doesn't look like a scribble. Now the other leaves, we've got this big clump of leaves here, and these smaller leaves. I'm going to use the greens I've used already and these, because I don't want to introduce any more colours, because I think we're going to end up getting a bit messy and too many colours. I don't like too many colours. You can use different colours if you want. I don't know, I just get a bit uncomfortable with having too much going on. This is earth green yellowish. It also makes it easier when it comes to picking what colour to use, because you can just pick one you've used before. Remember we did little circles. Just noticed a few areas that I've missed, so I can go over those with this. My husband is plugging something in the wall, the other side of it. I can hear him. I don't know what he's doing. I can hear him fiddling about. And the permanent green olive, remember. Now I've got no idea what colour to do my mushrooms, but I'm thinking about the fact that I've done some blue. We haven't got any blue anywhere else on this page, so I'm thinking maybe we need to reflect that blue. Remember the cadmium yellow lemon over the top? So I think maybe I will do some blue in my mushrooms to reflect that blue. I remember Johanna Basford doing some colouring and saying that's what she liked, to sort of match the colours up a little bit, so I think I'll do the same thing. But we'll do the leaves first. We've got these little tiny leaves. Now let me think, because we did some leaves up here in the olives and some, these ones not. I think I'll use earth green yellowish for these little ones. I'm only going to use the one colour because they are quite small. But you can see the difference between them and the May green. And these, there's quite a few small leaves, they're all going to just be the same. You don't have to do yours all the same. But that's how I have decided to do it. We've got that little gemstone to do too. What colour we're going to do that? What colour are you going to do that? You're going to tell me. I've just realised that this isn't a part of the bush at all. This is just a tendril from here. So the bushes don't go up to here. That should have been empty. But you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. If you, I'm sorry if you're not liking it, but I don't think it matters too much. I think I'm going to do these like these. I can't remember how I did them. So we're going to be guessing. I'm sure it's probably permanent green olive in the bottom. And I'm going to put quite a lot there where they're overlapping, and then start to fade it up towards the tip like that. And the same on this one, so we've got quite a lot on that overlap, so it looks like it will look a bit more shadowy. And then this one a bit lighter. Still want some there though, like that. And the same on the other side, so a bit more here. There. Yeah, my husband was taking some photos of the dragon pages in here because he's having a go at learning to draw them, and he's doing well, but he said he really liked Johanna's but he didn't want to copy them, and I said, well, you could copy them and then make them your own. I thought, I didn't say that to him actually, but you know, he can just play around. So this is May green. I can't remember whether we use May green or earth green yellowish from the others. But once it's all blended together, I don't think you'll notice what colour it is. This needs quite a lot of layers. You want it to be nice and intense so it doesn't look like the bush. There we go. And then the same on this side. Now the stars I'm thinking of a little bit now. I am wondering, I've got a couple of ideas. I could do them with a glitter pen and I think that would look quite pretty. But if I do them with a glitter pen, it means I can't colour another page in this book because I've used the glitter. And has to dry, and I'm impatient. I'm going to use my light phthalo green for these little drops here. Can you see these little water drops? I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. It's a nice colour, this, isn't it? I'm going to use it again in a little bit. We could do it now. We're going to use the cobalt turquoise first on our butterflies, and we're going to put a little bit here and then fade it to the edge, leaving a little white bit if we can. And do the same on each wing. And this is hopefully going to tie us back a little bit to our flowers, although they don't quite look this colour because of the other blue that was laid on top. There we go. Hardly breathing. And then this is where our light phthalo green comes in. Put this on top. Like a pretty greeny blue colour. There we go. same on this one. So even though they're different, I'm going to colour them the same. I'm going to need to do the body. I'm just going to pick one of the greys that we've used before. Whoops. Oh. This is the warm grey 4. I'm going to use that for the bodies. I'm just going to block it in because they are very small. As much as I'd like to make the edges darker, this one particularly is teeny. Just put a little stroke of colour in there. Right, the our mushrooms slash toadstools. We're going to start with the cobalt green, and I'm going to do these with it. I haven't decided quite what yet, so I'm just going to colour them in and have a think. I'm thinking darker at the bottom, just leave it a bit lighter at the top. I will burnish that top bit in a minute with something. It's weird, it just flashed then. I think a bird must have flown past the window. I'm going to use, to burnish that, the ivory. Okay, so on the top of each mushroom here, just pop on a little bit of ivory. You could use a blending or a burnishing pencil if you'd rather, but I think it just helps to fade the colour a little bit as well. There we go. Now these are covered with a little something. I'm going to use a slightly different colour. Use this. This is the light cobalt turquoise. And I'm going to use a really, really small amount of this on the top of each one. Just a little hint. So I'm introducing a new colour. Just a tad. And then I'm going to use our cobalt turquoise again for the base. And I'm going to probably start off darker under here, where there'd be a bit of shadow, and just fade it down a bit. It's quite a small space to work in. There we go. Now our gemstone, I've been thinking about what colours to do it. I think we could do ambery yellows. I've never tried that before. Let's try that. Let's experiment a little bit. Right, it's the yellows. Let's start with the Naples, dark Naples ochre. Okay, and I'm going to make it darker here, a bit lighter there, and then one here, darker at the top, sort of diagonal, lighter. Then I'm going to use this colour. This is the light yellow ochre. I'm going to make this face darker here and fade it to the edge. This face darker down there, I think. Fade to the edge. It's quite hard in such a little space. This one darker in the middle. Fade it to the edge like that. And then we're going to use our green gold. We're going to make it dark there, lighter there, darker here, and then this one darker there. Then we're going to get a black. Yes, a black. This is a scary bit. And we're going to darken some of those darker areas to get a bigger contrast between dark and light. When you do this, when you're using blue or red, it's not so scary, but on a yellow, just want a really, really gentle touch. Just putting the minimum on there. The idea is that it's a little bit of shadow. No, too much. There we go. There's our gemstone. Now we've got all our stars. I'm going to come out now so we can see them all. Now they aren't very big, so I'm going to do them all just one colour. And I'm going to choose this one. This is the dark Naples ochre. And do all the stars this colour, so I'm just going to work my way around with this. You can use your green gold if you like, but I just wanted something a little bit yellower today. I would normally use green gold, to be fair. Now I did say I wasn't going to use glitter because I have to wait for it to dry, but I am going to use white pen, which I will have to wait for it to dry as well. So maybe glitter might be okay, but I don't think I want glitter, thinking about it. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for glitter, so I'm not going to do any glitter. What I am going to do is do these. Oh, my pencils are rolling around. In light yellow ochre, the flourishes I call them. Now you could very easily do these in a metallic gold gel pen, go around the edge in a gel pen, put some glitter on top. There's so many options. What I'm going to do now is each of these little dots I'm going to colour over with this. So there are many options that you could choose. You could choose to do this pencil work that I'm doing now in a yellow pen, a gel pen, a felt tip pen would be see-through like my pencil is. You could use an acrylic pen or a gel pen which wouldn't be see-through. There are so many different choices available. But we are going to use a white pen in a minute just to add a few touches here and there. I'm not going to do a background. Whoops, I missed. I don't want to do a background. I think it just stands nicely as it is. You could put some colour in this box rather than on the whole page. If I was going to do some background now, I'd do a bit of light blue pastel around the outside and maybe not go all the way up to the item, just leave a sort of empty space. There we go. Now white pen. The sun's just gone in, it's suddenly got really dark. Jelly roll 8. Now I want to do a few dots on my flower centres, but not on my flowers, just on the centres, and on my butterfly wings. And then this, I feel that we need to put some white on the edges to make it look, fade back that black a little bit to make it look more shiny. You could use a white pencil for this if you don't have a white pen. You have a good white pencil like a Prismacolor, something like that, that would do that for you. You could, it would does eliminate white marks, white pencil, white print quite well. And once you've gone around the edges, just put a few dots and lines of white pen on your diamond, just all gemstone. It'll just make it look a little more sparkly. I'm going to just put some dots on the base of these mushrooms, and then I'll be done. Now I can't write my name on it now because I will smudge my pen, so I'm not going to. There it is. I don't usually write my name in anyway, but there we are. There is our finished first page from the book. So that was rather fun, exciting, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you for watching. I hope that you have a super day. Happy colouring.